What is going on, everybody? And thank you so much for tuning in to Wednesday's episode of the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast, an episode that features a look into some developing injury news from around the world of hockey. We're also going to take a look into the crease in Edmonton and what's happening between Jack Campbell and Stuart Skinner. You know, we got big time bets on the horizon as well. 15 games on the slate for Wednesday ahead of Thanksgiving in the United States. And what is going on with the Toronto Maple Leafs blue line? Let's break it all down, people. Thank you for being here.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You heard the music and you know what time it is. It's time for the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast, Wednesday edition. Today, people, I'm flying solo. It is just me, your boy, Big Flip Livingstone. You've seen my work across such platforms as The Score, CBC, Hockey Night in Canada, Post Media, Narcity Media, and a whole lot more. You know who it is. And thank you so much for making us your first listen every single day. We see and appreciate all that support. I know I say it every day, but it's because it's true, people. So thank you for holding us down. I hope we've been holding you down. Steele's on the IR today, but I am here to walk us through some hot fantasy topics, including some developing injury news. Travis Konechny going to hit some time on the shelf. Seth Jones is returning from injury. Morgan Riellly is now on the shelf. What's happening with the Toronto blue line? We're going to talk about all that. I also want to talk about what's happening in the blue paint in Edmonton. Because aside from Jack Campbell taking a puck off the beak, which we're going to talk about in a very interesting situation, Stuart Skinner has a real shot to start taking even more time away from the veteran in Campbell. I'm going to talk about that after the break. And much love to all of our American listeners who on Thursday will be celebrating Thanksgiving. That means the NHL is on a one day hiatus. So we have 15 games on the slate today, people. So you know your boy has some bets. We're going to get to everything, so stay tuned. But I want to start this with what's happening around the Toronto Maple Leafs in the blue line. And you guys know, you see the shirt, you see the background droppings, you hear us talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm going to keep this short and sweet, but I'm going to also keep it relevant for all of the fantasy listeners, not just Toronto people who are interested. Morgan Riellly goes down now. He gets hurt. He, takes an inadvertent hit from Kyle Palmieri the other night against the New York Islanders. This is a player who has been pivotal for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Knee injury. He's going to be out. He's on IR now. He's going to be out. That's a minimum. He's eligible to return on the 15th of December. They now have injuries to Riellly, Brodie, and Muzzin. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to have to get crafty here, but what the point I'm trying to make and what is relevant to fantasy listeners out there is trades at this time of year in the NHL are rare. But given what's happening with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the space they now have on LTIR, which is over $13 million of space and salary to work with, even if just Muzzin's contract stays on LTIR, that's $5.6 million for the Leafs to work with, and Kyle Dubas has been known to be active. I'm going to have a feeling he's going to take a poke around. I have a feeling it'll be on a pending UFA, something that they can take a flyer on to fill a hole, just because the other options that are going to fill in here in Toronto aren't the greatest. But what's going to happen here is more opportunity for Rasmus Sandin and Timothy Liljegren. Those are the two players that I would be looking at if you're out there trying to fill a hole on your defensive lineup in your fantasy squad. Those are the two players that I think, as much as they both need to improve in terms of being a everyday NHL defenseman that can be relied upon, they're going to be worth a shot in some deeper formats on fantasy, no doubt, especially because of this opportunity. Morgan Riellly was the only positive piece offensively that was left in this Toronto lineup, the one that you can count on, and he is out. Mark Giordano, Justin Holl, Jordy Ben. Oh my goodness. Now Mac Hollowell has to come up. No NHL experience. No disrespect to a player like Mac Hollowell. But keep your eye on this situation in Toronto because Morgan Riellly is going to be out and there's going to be a lot of minutes to be filled up here, people. And that's the fantasy takeaway to be had. So make sure you dive a little bit into this Toronto situation. And if you're a Morgan Riellly owner, maybe you're taking a look at this Seth Jones situation. If you haven't already added him back, he should be good to go tonight against the Dallas Stars. He has missed 10 games with a thumb injury. The plan right now is for him to start. Either way, if you're looking to add a D-man, if you haven't already and been keeping an eye, because Seth Jones, regardless of what you want to say about the Chicago Blackhawks, he is a valuable fantasy piece, and he would be a great fill-in for Morgan Riellly. Morgan Riellly this year, very quickly, 16 assists in 20 games, still fantasy relevant. But if you can, jump on Seth Jones because he will be back, and that wouldn't be a bad fill-in, and I wouldn't hate it at all. In a quick sec, I'm going to talk about the goaltending situation in Edmonton because I think it's becoming a very interesting one from both just a general hockey standpoint, but for sure for the relevance to your fantasy squad. Then I'm going to get to a whole boatload of big-time bets for this 15-game slate. Thanksgiving is coming for Thursday, so we have a bunch of games on tap tonight. But very quickly, there's also a couple of other rumblings of injuries, and I want to talk about Travis Konechny. Out for the next 10 to 14 days for the Flyers. The only thing I want to mention with that is how hot he has been. 7 goals, 12 assists in 17 games. He was hurt against the Boston Bruins the other night. If you need a fill-in for Travis Konechny, because he has been hot, and I was out there telling you to take a shot on this kid at the start of the season, so I will take that. You're going to have to go out there and also replace this player. Stay tuned for Monday's waiver wire special. We're going to have a bunch of options for you for Travis Konechny because it looks like he will be out with an upper body injury for at least the next 10 to 14 days. So that was a little tease for that. Little tease for our friends at Athletic Greens because today's episode, people, is brought to you by Athletic Greens. What is it? With one delicious scoop of AG1 from Athletic Greens, you're going to get 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and everything you need to start your day right. Right now, you can reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient and daily nutrition that can help you with your immune system, your energy, your focus, even help you age with grace. It is great before and after the gym. Both Steele and I like it in a little smoothie. It is all natural and just one scoop with your water every day or in a smoothie, which is how I like a little berries. Thank me later. That's it. No need for a million different pills or supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you 1 free year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do, head over to athleticgreens.com/NHL network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL network to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. That's right, people. This is another solo episode with your boy. You know I miss my co-host Steele, but this has given me a little bit of an opportunity to go off on some of the points that I like to talk about. By the way, thank you so much for making us your first listen every single day. You know we appreciate that. If you're feeling it, even if you're just feeling me today solo, go out and hit that smash, that subscribe button. Hit us a follow. Drop us a review if you're not feeling it. I'm always trying to get better, people, so let me know what you're feeling. If you're not, we'll be out here trying to see you because all we want to do is put that fantasy money in your pocket. Speaking of which, we need to pay attention to this developing situation in Edmonton because I like to come on to this show and talk a lot about being honest, and I have been honest about touting up the Edmonton Oilers. And obviously, with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and even some of the supporting pieces who have been good this season, they just need a goaltender, and that has been documented. And they bring in Jack Campbell, and now all of a sudden, you can't help but feel. And by the way, 5-year, $25 million contract with the Oilers. He's 30 years old, 6-4 this year, 4.27 goals against, and an .873 save percentage. Those numbers are ugly. Has it fully been Jack Campbell's fault? The Oilers allow the 5th most shots in the NHL at almost 35 per game. And I'm not rounding up. That's 34.4, okay? I'm rounding up slightly. They could be better in front of him, but he has not been good. And this is a situation that, you know me when it comes to goaltending, and it's close to the chest because of how many times I've been burned for money by not taking care of my goaltending situation. That's why I'm trying to hold everybody's hand through this and just highlight some of these spots. You can't help but feel Stuart Skinner is slowly winning this away from Jack Campbell. And I really don't think, and I've said this before, it matters in Edmonton who is in net. They have to capitalize on their situation with the excellency that they have up front. I understand the Evander Kane injury and adds a little wrinkle into this situation. But the magic that we continue to see from Connor McDavid, you can't help but feel is being wasted by bad performances around him. And they need to figure this goaltending situation out very quickly. And I can't help but feel that why not just continue to throw out Stuart Skinner? Just give this guy a shot. Let's see what happens. 4 wins, 5 losses, 2.78 goals against, 920 save percentage. And since Jack Campbell gave up that 7 spot against the Carolina Hurricanes, it seems that's exactly what the Edmonton Oilers are planning to do. And now, which is very interesting, and no one getting hurt is funny. I'm not coming out here and saying Jack Campbell taking a puck in the nose while he leans, by the way, while he leans forward over the bench while the players are coming off the ice. He needs to make room for the guys literally coming behind him on the bench. He leans forward and he takes a puck in the nose to end the period. And he has a broken nose now. He says he's good to go. It's just another one of these things for Jack Campbell this season. The situation overall in Edmonton, though, people, is what you have to keep your eye on. Because if Stuart Skinner gets the run out, I do think, especially, and I know that's down the road, whenever Evander Kane comes back, and that is such a huge blow to this team's success, which I think will continue to affect them. They're going to be in the mix in that division. They will be in the mix, but the main takeaway is the volatile situation in any GM's goaltending roster is something that you're going to have to capitalize on and be a little bit lucky with. But right now, you can't help but feel Stuart Skinner is the guy to go to. I want to pull up a tweet very quickly from my friend Michael Amato. Recently moved over to sportsnet.ca to be their fantasy goalie guy. Good friend of the show. He's been on this show before. Go check him out. That's at Amato Mike. Any goalie fantasy needs, this is your specialist. But he made a tweet today, and I'm going to pull it up about Jack Campbell, and it was so spot on. Just give me 1 second here. And it was basically to the effect of, you either drop Jack Campbell and watch him absolutely take a tear, or you miss on Jack Campbell and you go with Stuart Skinner. Either way here, you have to keep your eye on it. And the main takeaway, like I just said a bunch of times, whatever shakes down at Edmonton, one of these goalies has to take the crease. And right now, Stuart Skinner, you can't help but feel that he is the guy, because why not? I'm going to leave it at that. Let me know what you think about that take. Let me know what you think about the Edmonton Oilers situation in general and what their future is like. Drop us a comment in the video. Drop us a comment on Twitter. Check us out on Twitter. Let me just tell you one thing very quick. You are our first. We are your first listen every single day. Thank you for doing that. For your second listen, check out Locked On Sports today. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. My friends, we have arrived at my favorite part of the show every single day. Today, obviously, a little bit of a shorter episode. I'm flying solo. We got Thanksgiving coming up, but that means tonight we have 30 of 32 NHL teams in action, 15 games. You guys know me with the math. That is right. 15 games tonight on the board for Wednesday. Look, this is usually where Steele and I go back and forth about what we think and how we've been doing with our picks. It's only me today, so why don't we just dive right into it? I'm taking a look at this Calgary Flames Pittsburgh Penguins game as one that just smells like a high-scoring game, everybody. Like, the last 3 games that we've seen between both of them, not as high scoring head to head. The main thing that I'm taking away here is both teams have been putting up a ton of goals in the last couple of games. It screams over. The Penguins are on a heater. 9-4 Calgary straight up over their last 13 in Pittsburgh. I'm leaning a little bit to the Flames on the money line here, but the over 6.5 at plus 100, it feels like the move. It just feels like this one's screaming over. And, sue me if it doesn't feel right, but if you take a quick look at the recent 5-2 for the Calgary Flames against the Philadelphia Flyers in their last game, and before that 5-4 for the Florida Panthers against the Florida Panthers. That's a ton of goals. Pittsburgh coming off a 5 spot against the Chicago Blackhawks. Hit me with the over in this game. That's my first pick. I know there's not a ton to back it other than what I just said, but it just feels like one. So let's ride with it. My second pick. I'm looking at this Flyers into the Washington Capitals situation. 0-7 for the Philadelphia Flyers over their last 7. Before that, too, just in general, they struggle against these Washington Capitals. 3-8 over their last 11. I need to keep things simple for this, people. I'm riding solo. Only got a couple of bets because I got the blinders on. So many bets on the board. There's usually a takeaway. The takeaway for me is let's keep it simple because that many games you can always get overwhelmed. And I want to keep it to only a couple of bets, hopefully putting money in both of our pockets. Seeing these Washington Capitals at home, the track record. Also, the Flyers are not a good road team. 1-6 in their last 7 on the road as well. Give me the Washington Capitals on the puck line. That's right, the puck line. Plus 115. We're getting 2 games here at plus money. This feels like the right angle given how many options we have. And like I said, too many options to sprinkle money sometimes gets me a little tizzy. So I'm trying to, narrow it down like I said. So, final pick, lock of the night. We talked a little bit about on this show that the Colorado Avalanche, after winning the Stanley Cup, maybe not getting enough credit, maybe also not a great start. But now they're starting to pick up steam. They're also 7-3-1 away, good road team, 7-3-0 in their last 10 on a 3-game winning streak. I just feel like the Avs on the money line at home against the Vancouver Canucks, it's the move tonight. This Colorado team, as much as they, been down key pieces, they lose Nas in the offseason, they can still get it done. And what I've seen from Alexander Georgiev starting to emerge as a very, very solid goaltender. If you weren't buying what you were seeing from him with the New York Rangers, you can definitely start to buy into it now. And I think if he can continue to go, that's what they need to potentially make another run. And I know that's a whole other conversation. Cale Makar hits that major milestone of 200 points, fastest defenseman in NHL history to do that. They still have some special things going on there. And that's my lock of the night. Minus 190 is a little bit heavy. That's a lot of juice to lay. But against the Vancouver Canucks, I'm just feeling it here. The Canucks have been a very tough team to peg in terms of the betting situation. But with only 3 games out of 14 getting points on the road this season, that's a lot of away games for this Vancouver Canucks team, but they have not been good away from home. Give me the Avs on the money line, minus 190. Definitely a lock of the night pick. And looking at all 3 of these, I'm going to probably parlay them together, and that would be a juicy bit of change. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. It's been a bit rocky. Thanks for tuning in and sticking with me. Thank you for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast, the biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. Available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Much love for being here, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed Wednesday's episode. We will be back for Thursday, and good luck with your bets. We'll see you tomorrow.